Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Welcome to episode 24 of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. The three amigos of myself, Matt, Neil and Cozzy are back in front of the mics as we discuss the topics of our beloved football club of the last week. Coming up, we'll talk Arsenal, referees, Diakabi and fallen friends. So, first of all, huge thanks to Sky for highlighting that we are indeed the lowest goal scorers in English football and the top 5 European leagues.
Breaking news.
Much appreciated, thank you very much. Huddersfield Town took on the mighty Arsenal. I came away feeling reasonably enthusiastic as to what I'd seen. More personnel changes, but one thing that is becoming clear, Neil, is that Jan Sievert is definitely an advocate of the 4-3-3, and he seems to want to go with sharp front men rather than the big and bulky types that David Wagner did.
Yeah, I thought we were alright. It was a decent game to watch. Thought we got amongst them. I know you're a lover of stats, Matt, and the stats heavily weighed in our favour for possession, shots on target, etc., etc. All in all, you can see all we asked was a bit of progress when he took over, and over the course of the few games, yeah, we've lost all three, but you can definitely see progress on the pitch, albeit I'm not getting quite as excited as some are just yet.
A couple of unhappy players, Cozzy, which is the way that you want it when they're not playing. No Hadjianai, Mounier, Lossell was ill. To all those people that are starting rumours that there's a fight between Mounier and Lossell, knock it off. It doesn't help anybody. But moving on, Cozzy. It's interesting to see how he's trying to utilise the full squad that he's got there and having a look at everyone.
Yeah, I think, pat myself on the back here, I think I said about 3 weeks ago, I expect 5 changes, 6 changes, kind of week in, week out. I have no problem with that. I think he's got to find, who's up for the battle, have a look at everybody really, and obviously we've got no, back in the day you could maybe have the old Pontins League, have a look at the reserves, but there's nothing like that now, so the only way you're going to see these guys is in the hotbed of Premier League, and no pressure against Arsenal. I suppose we might come on to it later. The only one thing I've been kind of disappointed with is that Callum Grant hasn't really been given his head really and that as well, and when we saw when he came on he kind of added a little bit to it, but yeah, I thought it'd have been easy for us to really go under on Saturday, 2-0 down at half time. Obviously a bit of a killer of a goal, ruthless goal, just something that we don't do. Lacazette, it was so ruthless, wasn't it? But then second half, part of me wonders, tempered with the fact that Arsenal are a funny team. I think sometimes they're a moody team, as we saw with Chelsea. They're a moody team, contrasting performances, but yeah, we came out and we were pressing with energy. I thought the stadium was good, and this is the thing now. I mean, I'm quite pleased that we only lost by a goal, and we gave everything, but that were like a gimme 2 years ago. So it just shows our expectations has gone. Certainly for me.
I thought we deserved something, to be honest. I genuinely thought I thought the performance deserved something. Started well, Neil. On a day today, a sad day today, where Gordon Banks has sadly passed away. We've made a good start. Everything's going well. And then you look at the goalkeeper a bit.
Yeah, there's a few people blaming a deflection, but even with an ever so slight deflection, I was sat right behind that and the ball didn't really deviate much. It's a bit of an howler from Emery for me, to be honest.
I'm a fully paid up member of the Goalkeepers Union. Ex-goalkeeper myself, obviously not at the level Ben Hamer's playing at, so I understand what he's tried to do. To me, he's looked a little bit over-eager, and he's jumped at the ball rather than just naturally float towards where the ball's going. He's jumped too far, too early, because he's seen it early. He's jumped too far, too early, and the deflections killed him. He's not had the best of times so far. Still got nightmares, Neil, about knocking that goal kick out for a corner as well.
Well, he's had in the 4 or 5 games he's played, he's conceded 12 goals, and being erring on the kind side, he's probably culpable for half of them. He considered his performance at Man City absolute mare. The Bristol City game was on his near side. He's been done there. Obviously, the dead ball for goal kicks Probably the worst bit of goalkeeping I've ever seen.
I'll be honest. I'm a
when
fully
it's not-
paid up member
yeah.
of the union, and I've done that once before. My ankle, to be fair, my ankle was shot to bits, and I couldn't feel below my knee pretty much. And I tried to knock a pass to somebody and did the exact same thing. But
Which, to be fair, whatever level, it's not right. But when you're getting paid, what he'll be paid as a Premier League goalkeeper, it's just sorry, but
I was going to say I was
it-
a one-legged lad playing in the
it
heavy
was
ones
awful.
Sunday League.
And
I don't think Congolo covered himself in glory with that. I thought it could have got a lot tighter. I thought he was,
I keep
on that
saying
goal
I
as well.
don't really enjoy him as much at left back anymore, and it was pointed out because he was that on Sky that Congolo could have closed down a lot more for that, and also
I thought
the
that
second
at the time, mate. Yeah, but obviously the brickbats are coming in, easy one for Ben Hamer. But either way, it was a deflating goal to concede. Disappointed. I'd rather someone like Ben went in for 30 yards than that. It was just a bit of a here we go again, because that was really their first attempt, I think, wasn't it?
it was another town gift, and when you don't score yourself, it's you can't afford to be giving such gifts away.
It's a killer, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
straight away, it's a killer.
But in fairness to players, though, they battled on, they carried on, put some good moves together themselves, caused Arsenal a few issues without actually making them really sweat.
Long ball forward, but he can't win that ball. He's going to chase the keeper down. He's charged it down. And he's scored! Hayford has just scored for the most bizarre goal you'll ever see. The goalkeeper raced out of his area to clear the ball. Hayford charged it down. It's hit his back and it's bobbled in. And Town have got what they deserve.
It gets boring, Cozzy. VAR, etc. The discussion doesn't change week on week on week. Another incorrect decision, or do you think that was fair enough?
I wasn't so sure, to be honest with you. I mean, I've seen the replay about it. It would have been interesting. I honestly don't know what an handball is now, I'll be honest with you. And I watch a lot of football all over the place.
Yeah, true.
It's a fair point. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
and it were wellied at him. But again, it's just like that. God, it sounds like against sour grapes. But if that's at Old Trafford and
It's a
hit
pen for me.
against Schindler,
It hits his hand before anything else, and it stops it from going
It's a
towards the
pen.
goal.
And you can tell. I mean, Guy Mowbray on commentary on BBC said that literally nobody's claimed for it, but when you see the still of it, there's about
everybody's
7 or
claimed.
8 Town players all with their arms in there.
I'm fed up
And
of national BBC.
But you don't claim. You normally judge something by reactions of players, and that to me,
Koscielny,
it's a pen.
it did ricochet into his.
It did, but it's a pen. He stopped the ball going towards goal.
It is
Not saying it's going in, but
no.
he's stopping the ball going towards goal. So it's a pen for me. It's another one, but you don't even get angry about them anymore. You just sort of shrug your shoulders and it's what happens now. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Good mate, kind of Sutty. He commented again. He's the one that sticks up for us on these reports, and again he knows that says it how it is. With referees, and again Huddersfield, kind of denied. And
I throw in Chris Kamara as
Been a
well.
thing.
Chris Kamara was quite
Yeah.
adamant that it was a penalty on goals on Sunday as well, and he's pretty much the only one who's fair to us.
Dermot Gallagher on the referee's bit on Sky afterwards was
Garbage. He
was just trying his best to convince everybody there's no way that could have been a penalty.
didn't he say it hit Koscielny's thigh first,
Yeah.
which is absolute
But it's-
lie.
that would have been interesting. I'm not so sure. I really wouldn't want to call that, to be honest with you.
I think it depended who was sat in chair, and
Yeah.
I also think that sadly it'd depend on which two teams were involved and at which end of the pitch it's at. And it sounds bitter that, but that's what we've seen all season.
It's not true.
So
it's not wrong. is it?
it's just fact, innit?
Moves in, Jepson's there, Billy's in, a goal, Chris Billy, Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
So, Cozzy, you've reached out to Twitter about the Arsenal game, and you've tried to gauge opinion from people across that social media platform. Do you want to have a readout of what people have been getting in touch with us with?
Yeah, let's see some discussions. So first one from at DPW247 Watson. Before kick-off, I said I wanted to see the goalkeeper make an actual good save rather than catch a tame shot. I think I counted 2.5, smiling emoji, plus Lolo just wide and a goal for me. So it was a success. Early positives, we're attacking again. For me, it's a success. A few points and score 1 and 2, I think, is obviously kind of looking forward in that as well. Slowly getting back to a bit of hope when ball's in the last third rather than waiting for them to get back possession and a goal kick. James Welsh says we are getting men in the box, would be perfect to play 2 up top, Mounier wins everything in the air, gets some goals from his knockdowns, worrying though that he wasn't in the squad. I think we were going to discuss that as well. I mean, I heard it was in the White Rose Club. I mean, I don't know.
He was, yeah.
He
He wasn't injured.
or,
There was no thing. I think it's just the manager's... I think what he prefers to do is just play 3 sharp, more dynamic strikers, and a big target man doesn't fit into... It doesn't seem to fit into the way Jan Sievert likes to play, so I think what he's tried to do is just rotate the bench option between him and Depoitre. But
how long's his contract, Mounier? Because obviously...
It's another year.
Another year, yeah.
Is it needs...
I
can't see him being around next season.
I genuinely think we'll be trying to shift him on. We've still got a bit of sell on with him.
I like him a lot, but
I do.
if he doesn't fit, then... And if someone comes in for him, then it doesn't make sense to keep him.
But as it stands at the minute, we've now got 3 strikers and there's only one of them fits. And that's why I found it a bit odd on Saturday.
I don't think any of them fit, to be honest.
I think Grant will. I think end of the day he's been bought to fit this. We've got to assume he's been bought to fit this plan that Sievert's hopefully got.
I'm ready to be shot down, boys, but I'm convinced we'll be sat here 12 months' time, whichever league, whichever team he's in, saying, wow,
It'll be championship because they don't worry about legs, son.
You think so? Mate, if he's in French league, honestly, he will score goals, I'm convinced. But
oh, yeah, don't doubt that.
For me, I think it's the beginning of the end.
Yeah, I do. I think if you've got a year left in his contract, you've got to let him move on.
He must have been on good
try and get a few quid back and reinvest. But
Dom Lister, tweets in, very positive display, and if it wasn't for an incompetent set of officials, again, we would have got something from the game. The stats show just how well we played. The main positive for me was the urgency to get the ball forward rather than playing round the back. Early days, but you can see what Sievert's game is about. Diakabe looks like a new player in this formation. Bakuna had a strong performance and Grant looked lively. But Don makes a final point. Success for the rest of the season for me will be further signs of Jan's philosophy on the team, ready for next season. Positive performances like Arsenal and implementing ideas on the players, which will still be here next season. Tom Finnegan, plenty of positives for me. Was first game where we saw Sievert's attacking style on display. Bakuna seems to be getting better every week. Diakabe was like a different player altogether. I certainly think we'll get 2 or 3 wins out of the remaining fixtures at least. William Bradbury, I like the 4-3-3 setup as we actually have a threat, which hasn't felt like we have in a while. We did have that.
I agree with that. When I was watching the highlights back, and there's 5 men in the box at times when it's wide, which is really good.
Some real positivity. It's really good. It's kind of cheering me up a little bit. JSH Minardi Forever on Twitter. Can definitely see progress. Would like to see Grant be given more opportunities, I agree. And more work in developing decision making. Ian Wright on Match of the Day made some valid points. Did anyone see that?
I don't watch that rubbish.
No.
Well,
I would out enjoy myself.
I like Ian Wright, but I don't watch that rubbish.
Success to me would look like closing the points gap rather than getting out of the relegation zone. Martin B 8723692 pluses Bakuna, but by no means the finished article, but his aggression, work rate and raw talent will seem well suited to the championship. Smith probably short of Premier League level, but good seeing him get game time to be our captain and first choice right back ready for championship. I know you've been a big advocate, Neil, haven't you, of Thomas?
Matt has been a big advocate.
He has.
And Neil.
Sorry, Matt must have mentioned it once, so it says.
A million times, man.
I've said it all along that he's his best right back. We've got 3 now, and he's the best of the 3. It's simple as that. And you want him starting his season next season as your captain at right back. The only thing that I didn't agree with on Saturday that Sievert had done, and there were a lot to be positive about, were fetching Depoitre on so early. I thought when Depoitre's coming on there, I think you've got to be looking at getting Grant on and giving him a bit more time. I didn't see any mileage in doing that, but there you go.
I'd see Grant. I just when he comes on, he just doesn't look quite ready for me. I think dipping him in slowly probably might be the right way.
Another 15 minutes or in a game that's gone.
To be honest, when he's come on, he's looked a bit lost to me as Grant.
But Depoitre's
apart from
he's going, he's going to be gone. So you've got a young.
You never know if he plays well. They might keep him.
He's not staying.
We've got the guy who sponsors our stadium, which is very kind. If you could send us some beer, we've got John Smith tweeting in. My only worry was Town might move away from the high press foundation Wagner had put in. Thankfully, it seems more of an evolution to a more attacking 4-3-3 version of it. Wagner's attacking play was all about getting the ball into the tight half space channel, having a player overload in a tight area of the pitch, forcing a through ball outside for the full-back to cross, then recycling and starting again if no breakthrough. Sievert seems to want possession, but to hit the half space or between line ball for a quick release player to break the line. It's interesting to read that the academy team have swapped over as well to the 4-3-3 to be in line with the first team. Some interesting points.
It sounds like what my secret account does that.
Yeah. Matt, any thoughts on them?
Yeah, I agree fully. The academy will always try and mirror the first team. It's part of the policy of the club. So if Jan Siver has a specific way of playing, it'll be down to under 17 level. Yeah.
Well, it's took a few tweets. We finally got a bit of a negative, but no surprise. Lee Robinson, Hamer should never start again. And then he moves on to positive things. Smith, bad in injury, should be a shoo-in. Would love to see Grant start at Newcastle. He was everywhere in that last 10 minutes. As others have said, plenty of positives. It was a game I went to enjoy regardless of the result, and they delivered. Good attacking football, relentless pressure to win the ball back, and non-stop effort. It's usually game over to go goal down, but they never gave up. Love it. I agree. I thought second half, it really could have gone one or two ways.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Dave Morehouse said Diakabi played well and wasn't afraid to take players on. A lot of the same performance-wise. Some good use of the ball, but no end product. Hoping Sievert can get the confidence back in the squad to attack and start scoring goals. It's far too early to see what is different from Wagner's reign. Brandon Holroyd, thoughts on Bakuna potentially being next year's version of Moy in the Championship, controlling and dictating the tempo of play and being to that deep playmaker if when Aaron was to leave.
Might be a bit early for that, but
do we want to come on to Bakuna now? Obviously, being mentioned quite a bit on these tweets.
Yeah, so I remember watching this. I think it was late on in the first half, and Bakuna was lining a shot up from sort of 30 yards, and I was saying to the group of friends that I go to, I was like, encourage him, shoot, I want you to shoot, and for me that was a great sign because it was a sign of confidence in that his own inner self-belief is building. And that he's going to try things. And then the real key for me was that he tried it and his head didn't drop. Previously, he's been trying things, passes haven't come off, and then he's kind of disappeared for a couple of minutes. But on Saturday, especially the second half, what was really great was he constantly tried things. That bit of skill, Cosy, right down in front of the dugout near us was fantastic. And
he had a run as well, Matt, didn't he? Where he went on a massive 40-yard sprint, and I thought, God, he's going to take everyone on. And is that the one that you mean, or was that another?
There was a little shimmy where he sold somebody a complete dummy right in front of the dugout, which was really good. But yeah, he did the run as well and played the 1-2 with Depoitre, didn't he? Which didn't quite come off. But I was really, really pleased with Bakuna, and you could see and this is the thing about young players, they do need to be dipped in and out, and he's played, and all of a sudden we're starting to see, the arc of his improvement going up, and it's good. We're talking about him being, Aaron Moy of next season in the Championship. I think it's probably a little bit early. I think he probably needs a lot more time.
His energy's really impressed me, mate, and it must be hard in a team that's just constantly losing and kind of not negative vibes around. But he just to kind of say, I'm going to kind of still make these runs, showed enthusiasm. I really like him. I'm tempering with it, what you say, Matt, kind of not getting the next Moy carried away, but
just let him get on.
There's some promising signs, mate, and anyone who has a go, this will public all of the years, no matter how good or bad they are, people will warm to that, and I'm really liking what you've got to say, definitely in the positive box, really, for me. Game of James FM, we were superb against Arsenal and deserved a point. I can see definite positives from Sievert. We look a lot more attacking. I loved Wagner, but we did go too negatively by the end. Success would be getting 12 points from the remaining games, more than double our tally. Clare Hill came away feeling positive again. Much of an improvement on the Everton game. Great to see the younger players finding their feet and growing in confidence. Love Thomas Smith's post-match interview. It's clear the team are fighting and working hard for Jan Sievert. By the end of the match, the whole stadium seemed to have lifted. There was much more of a buzz despite the result. On another note, the pre-match playlist had changed to No Hef song. Away fans still decided to sing it though.
Yes, Alex Lacazette. Yeah.
He's just all positive tweets, really. Lee Walker was good to see forward passes and has been beamed on the front foot since the Wolves game. Richard Crowther, I think we're seeing with Sievert how maybe Wagner saw us developing from last year against the weaker sides when we recruited in the summer. But we competed so well against the stronger sides. He's stuck with the 3-5-2, 4-1-4-1 formations, and the strikers lost their confidence. Midfielders got injured and Wagner lost his way. Regardless of points, I think success Sievert for now is playing well enough to lift the crowd, convince some key players to stay, and have a crack at promotion next season and scoring some goals.
So we have seen, Neil, we were on Radio Leeds a couple of weeks ago, and Diakabi was mentioned by Johnny Buchan, and I think all three of us just kind of went with Diakabi. But I flip-flopped last week. I've started to see positivity and things what we were saying about Diakabi, or what we said a couple of weeks ago was put him on the shoulder higher up, and then all of a sudden he comes to life. His speed brings him to life, and we're starting to see a bit of a bit of a change, Neil. Maybe with Bakuna, maybe we shouldn't get too carried away too early, but we're starting to see why he was signed by Monaco to replace Kylian Mbappe. And I know that always makes you smile.
He did all right. I think everyone's getting... It's fluctuated between worst player that's ever kicked a ball to being next to Thierry Henry, and middle ground. It's probably somewhere in between where it lies. He did all right. He did a decent game. He caused a few problems for them. Very, very, very one-footed. I'll get criticised for saying that, but it's a fact. He just hasn't got a right foot. I like the fact that when he did cut in once, he hit a decent shot.
Swerver one, yeah.
Yeah, decent effort. Puts a couple of good crosses in.
You see his confidence is lifting as
well.
Yeah,
absolutely. And confidence is everything in football, especially with a young lad like that. And it was good to see a positive performance from him, and it's good to see him get a lot of positive comments. But let's not all get too carried away too quick. And I'll still stand by what I said at the start of the season, or what I said not that long since as well, that
I think that's right. I think just because he's playing well now doesn't mean he wasn't playing poorly before.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And it's got to be spoken about properly. And I'm all for praise everyone. They've done well. And I thought both Diakabe and Bakuna were arguably our best two players on Saturday.
Throwing Smith as well.
Throwing Smith.
Gold, silver, bronze.
To be honest, I expect it with Smith because he's just a good fullback, isn't he? But the other two being young lads who've had a lot of stick, I thought they would argue as best two players Saturday. So, credit where it's due.
I think it's a reminder as well that patience is.
It is, but it also just highlights again how bad last summer was, because we've relied on these lads, and people are now getting giddy because he might come good for next season. But sorry, but it's a season too late for us for what we bought at the time. So, I'll get shot down for that. So be it. But that's my opinion.
No, I think he's right, isn't he? Because in that. We needed somebody. I think one thing that I was chatting with Elliot, who does Talk of the Town, and me and him both quite liked the idea of trying to sign Mark Albrighton from Leicester. Wasn't in the team, reliable delivery, probably very expensive, but we kind of thought that was maybe the kind of player that you would want. Someone who's quite dead ball deliveries, really good for Mooney. Yeah, if he has, yeah. So
I think we spoke about it before, haven't we? But the frustration thing for me is that last year, obviously, we didn't know how a lot of our players were going to go in there, and kind of we excelled. I think we've got to say that we stayed up. And then you're thinking, I know we're going to be shopping at, what is it, Aldi or Lidl? What? Now it's shut down now, whatever. I know we're going to be shopping there, but
Co-op.
I just think we needed a bit of kind of experience rather than like project players, as you call them, Matt. And I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, and maybe the videos, because I remember let's remember when Town signed these guys. No, YouTube videos are such a scourge of some of the signings. They always get held against them. But I remember we were seeing, when Benza, dummy and beating players scoring great goals. It was same for Diakabe, and I think they were trying to build us up. Maybe the club need to probably look at what they've done. I know they're trying to be positive, but that maybe created a false impression. And
so far.
Yeah, and obviously so be the least said the better. But it's gutting, really, isn't it? But
I think it links into where they've come from as well, because Monaco, renowned name in football, had some top players, and when we're signing players from there, and let's be honest, people are saying it's 7.2 million or whatever is not a big fee. For Huddersfield Town, 2 years ago, we were spending, his record were 1.8 for a centre back, and with all of 7.2 is a lot of money. Whatever in anybody's book for Huddersfield Town, it's a lot of money.
In terms of football for the Premier League, it's not.
But for Huddersfield Town,
but that doesn't matter. It's the Premier League. We are competing in the Premier League.
It does matter.
I don't think it does.
Well, we'll disagree on that one, but it does matter to me.
I watched a bit of Monaco this morning. I'm sad while I go to work, and they're on the verge of going down. So I think they've got Cesc Fabregas, got the guy from Leicester who he signed at last minute, but he couldn't play because he missed the window.
Was it still Adrian Silva?
Yeah, they've got Gelson Martins from Atletico Madrid. They've really had to throw kind of ridiculous signs to try and keep him up. But I don't think I'd have to get the stats. So I don't think Diakabe played many games, did he, last year? I think 18 games over there. I could be totally wrong, but
that's at a good level, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a French. It's and obviously
for build up and where he's from for money. I think we're well within his rights to expect more than we've had.
Colin Frontzak, no change on the previous sentiments. We're going down and now we'll build our style play for the Championship and work out who will fit the system. If we can get a tune out of Bakuna and Diakabi in the process, then at least we get some return on the investments. Andy Farrell, thought we played really well. Hamer was poor again. Smith our best right back by far. Diakabi the best game so far. Hope it's a sign of things to come. I would have had Grant on for the 60th minute. Official standards are a joke. I think Lee Robinson, can we forgive Hamer for being wrong-footed for the slight deflection? Or would a carrot on a stick have got a more solid connection on it? I think we spoke about that earlier. Vicky Edler, I live with two Arsenal fans. They both said Town were the better team and the ref was unbelievable. If it wasn't penalty or not, my chap was shocked just how many small decisions were changed, but just by players asking. So I think getting into
quite a few
refs,
Arsenal fans in the fantastic media law.
Essex Terrier, Wagner came. Anyone who comes from Essex up to this town are absolute legends, aren't they? You know, I think every like home games are away day. It must, God, honestly, total respect if making the journey. Wagner came in a game or so. We saw the change. The same Sievert for Arsenal, more pace and lateral and forward movement. Not as much lateral passing across the back. Slicker passing in tight spaces. The team guys have taken this on board pretty quick. It's only going to improve. Peter Nikolic, although we were undoubtedly better, any other team in the league would have beaten Arsenal on Saturday, and I made that point, Peter. I agree. I don't know about any other team, but Fulham might not have. But I looked at their lineup. I thought, what a shame that we're just not in a better condition, because I thought they could have been beaten. I agree.
If you put our back end with Fulham's front end, you got a decent side, to be honest.
Yeah, and how many million? What did they spend? 107, but
something daft, wasn't it?
Yeah. Nick Shackleton, main positive is that we are now getting more men in the box and actually look capable of scoring rather than centre forward isolated on his own and mapped by 2 to 3 men. Tempo of passing still too slow for my liking and over elaborating in scoring positions, etc. It still is slow, isn't it? That's the biggest difference you watch when you watch any other games, isn't it? It's just that, isn't it? The slow. I mean, their goal, their second goal, was just bish bash bosh bang. It just so clinical, just something that we have not got when we're like kind of. Championship's different style though, totally, isn't it? Though, and that as well. It's like it's going to be a lot more physical.
It's going to be a lot different watching again next season.
I suppose that's the other thing to think about, isn't it? When we're talking about Bakuna and Diakabi and stuff, that it's Patty thinks he'll put some of these defenders on toast, but that physical battle. I remember that Everton game when it was a bit of a physical game. I know maybe an harsh judgment that first game, but it does worry you. Johnny Oggs over you, But maybe they'll learn fast. Maybe they'll, take to this standard. Trying to think anymore. Richard Ainsworth. A few weeks ago, I thought Diakabi was one of the worst players seen in a Town shirt, and I've seen a lot, especially at 8 million. But he's looked a real prospect since so good to see Jan's influence. Bakuna also getting better, and at Smith at right back, time to unleash Grant. So again, it seems to be a common theme, doesn't it? Smith, people are pleased with him. Bakuna, Tick, and obviously Diakabi. Time to look to Schofield as Lossell's deputy next season. O'Brien to be in the mix for midfield. This is the one thing I agree. I know it's experienced keeper that is. I'd rather have a. I know they'll say we can't chuck a kid in, but wow, Sheffield United seem to have young keepers coming out. I know it's a championship.
Keeper's the one for me where you really can't be chucking them in too young.
You've got to play as a goalkeeper, as an ex-goalkeeper as well. You can't. It takes a while to build up your kind of sharpness and your anticipation. You can't sort of come in and do one game, go back out, do one game, unless you're quite experienced and old.
I'd like to see Schofield out for another full season.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think he's fine where he is at the minute, and if they'll take him next year, if they stay up in League Two, let's do it again.
Or get him out of League A if we can. And
yeah, I'd be happy to let Hamer. I don't really rate Coleman that much either, to be honest. I'd be happy if they both left and we brought in a more experienced 37, 38-year-old who'd be happy to sit there, like Rob Green, you mentioned, didn't you, off the podcast. Yeah. I mean, he might have got a bit too old now, but somebody like that who can come in for 1 or 2 games, be reliable and be happy to go back and
be a good figure-round club like Rob Green were at that time.
It's Tony Norman when you need him now. And a lot of positivity in them tweets, it's reflected in the poll that I put out as well. How many games do you think we'll win out of our last 12? I was really fascinated to see what we'd put. And I put 0, 11% voted we'll win no more games, 17% said 1, and 72% of people think more than 1. That's the one thing I thought Saturday. Just kind of, part of me were wondering whether we'd win another game.
Either, is it? More than 1 when we've got left 12, 13.
Yeah. But a part of me, Neil, I'll be honest, I don't know if we said last week with 20 points or whatever, but we were saying we win another game, a lot of negativity, but kind of walk away out there thinking, I think we can win 1 or 2, and obviously reflected on the poll and that as well. So it's good that, isn't it?
We've
Quite
got Wolves to come out where we always beat Wolves, so that's all.
Not now.
Nuno had a dream. At least his dream are better than Carlos's, wasn't it?
And every single one of you should never forget, it doesn't count how big you are. It doesn't count how experienced you are. It doesn't count how nice you are. If you have passion, desire, you have no limits. No limits.
Right then, Cozzy, so I've also tweeted out a bit of an underrated meme, I thought, for Diakabi as well. So just trying to gauge an opinion whether he's after, he's done quite well against Chelsea, he's done okay, little flashes against Everton, and played well yesterday. Just seeing if the groundswell is starting to change towards him. Mark Harrison said he thought he had something about him, but was a little bit too scared to disagree with Neil.
Neil the monster Wayne.
Thought he needed someone to love him and build up his confidence. Ziva is pushing the right buttons. The Regminator Andrew says, just really pleased Town didn't look to have totally wasted the 7 million. Still some way to go for me, but green shoots look to be appearing. He also has the rare commodity that can't be taught, which is pace. Tom Hoyle, no relation to the chairman, I don't think, has said he's had one good game against Arsenal, but look at Everton, he broke free and got a man sent off. Moy took the free kick, then flicked the ball over his head. Put a great cross in for Kachunga. If it wasn't for Pickford, we would have won that game 2-1. Right, so on Diakabi, is he winning over the crowd? So Elliot has said he's benefiting a lot from playing further up the park. His starting position in possession has gone from the halfway line under David Wagner to midway through the opposition's half under Jan Ziva, which has made him much more of a threat. He's also been impressed that he's looking up and putting balls into dangerous areas. Tom Bradshaw says at 22, he's taken a step in the right direction under Jan. Using his pace is a better way than David Wagner's tactics were. In the long run, I think he'll turn out to be a good signing for us, but brings us back to the glaring bad summer recruitment we had and not getting what we actually needed, which you agreed with, Neil.
Yeah.
Our buddy Dale Marsden, he's not overly impressed yet. Says one swallow doesn't make a summer. People talk about potential, but he was brought in to improve upon Van La Parra and Ince. It's not his fault that he has that expectancy on his shoulders, but that's the truth of it. The Tanzanian Terrier says possibly a number of factors that have affected him. The move to the Premier League with no previous experience, combined with a lack of game time, no games, no experience. But also he's of an age who Jan Ziva previously coached and is reaping the benefits under the new manager.
The thing is, we completely changed formation, didn't we, after signing all these players, so it was never going to work, was it?
No, well, we said it last week, didn't we, that the pacey wingers need to be higher up the pitch if that's what they're using, rather than be 10 yards in front of the fullback, which is what they were before. There were more pivots rather than wingers before. But other people here, so Kevin Tebb, Tebby65, says Saturday should hopefully give the lad some confidence, which is what he's been lacking. Big Daddy G, the Big Show from WWE, says the jury still has to be out, but he was miles better than we've seen of him Saturday. Dangerous, incisive, and had a purpose and a sense of direction. More of this with a fit, confident and Benzer on the other flank, and we'll have a nice run into relegation. Noel Wood says not really given a chance under David Wagner, but when he was, ball was played to his feet, back to goal, which obviously he's struggled with. He's got good pace, nice tricks, just needs to work on his finishing, but so does everyone. And then the final two comments, Watson has come in again, says still same for me. Shows glimpses of a good player, but frustrates me. Waits for ball to feet and cuts inside on his left rather than run down the right hand side. Dave Herbert finally says he's definitely winning me over. On his first start, he looked like Bambi on ice. I'm putting that down to desperation to impress and anxiety, which could be a fair point. He hadn't been easy for a young kid in a foreign country who found himself out in the cold. If Siva has confidence in him, so should we, which is probably a good tweet to finish on there as well. So everything's quite positive about some of the younger players that are coming through. Obviously, when we look back, maybe the summer recruitment wasn't, but looking forward, we look to be in not such a bad place at the moment.
the byline. Kachunga leaves it. Smith scores for Huddersfield Town. 3-2 Town. Kachunga left it. And it's Tommy Smith, the skipper, who's drilled in surely one of the most important goals of the Huddersfield Town season.
Well, sadly, we've had some bad news this week, Cozzy. Ian Ross has sadly passed away. Ian, I believe, initially came to Huddersfield Town as the assistant manager to Owen Hand.
He did.
And then Owen Hand was sacked after we fell out of the playoffs in 91-92. And Ian Ross took over. That famous signing of Peter Butler, wasn't it? It was Peter, wasn't it? Him and Chris Marsden were absolutely unreal in midfield for Ian Ross. Sadly, Southend, was it that we got Peter Butler from?
Yeah, they recalled him.
They recalled him just before the playoffs. Yeah, thanks for that. And Chris Marsden got injured, and we ended up with Kieran O'Regan and John Kelly in that that midfield. Strange. I do remember the 92-93 season. Obviously, I'm younger than you guys, and we'll let that sink in for a moment.
Which the goal? It was like the goal. Was it still? Did we have the goal the season after with the red and black after that was a playoff season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember Ian Ross being like a steady hand on Huddersfield Town and that as well. I thought he did it. He did a good job. Obviously, when you kind of not got promoted in the playoffs, the next season is always a difficult one and that as well. And I thought he did a good job. Obviously, Neil Warnock took over, and kind of the rest is history. But yeah, sad to hear the news. And when you kind of delved into a little bit of his history, Ian Ross, Liverpool. I'm not so. Obviously, everyone kind of is a legend now these days, but Ian Ross kind of did a lot in football, and for me, he was a positive person for Huddersfield Town, and when he was in charge in that as well, and it's sad news to hear that.
I actually met Ian Ross once. I was quite young. My uncle took me to a game. We went in underneath, so I got to see the Shankly boot room. I still remember that I think I must have been 10, something like that. Went in, saw the Shankly boot room, which was really cool. It was messy, but it was really, really cool. And I remember coming out of the boot room, and there's Iffy and Yura walking past Phil Starbuck. When I was about 10, I used to want my hair like Phil Starbuck, and it's still a bit like Phil Starbuck's now. And then all of a sudden, this quite short Scottish man came forward and spoke to my uncle at the time, and I remember him saying, "Who's this young man?" and shook my hand, and he had an iron grip on him, and that was Ian Ross. And it was quite nice how he took the time out to come and say hello to my uncle and me as a young man, sort of walking around the corridor, gawping at all these players. And I remember, I don't remember a lot about him, but I do remember a cast iron handshake and him being a very nice bloke who went out of his way to say hello.
For me, he had the greatest programme notes title ever. Can you boys remember it?
I will do when you've said it. Go on.
It was just titled Ross on Why. Absolutely brilliant. That's one thing I do remember. You used to always get a programme, Ross on Why, and then you used to get to middle pages for your half-time scores at about 4:15, H and J. And really sad news. How old was he? That was his
74, I think.
74, yeah. And then, obviously, we're going to move on to it in a second, but it's bad news after bad news, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mickey Kennedy as well, town midfielder, Salford born. 1980 to 82, he played for us, 81 appearances and 9 goals. I obviously won't remember Mickey Kennedy, but you two may.
I do a bit. Just remember him being probably harder than Darren Bullock. That's
big call.
That's probably the best way for people to compare him. Those who've seen Darren Bullock
story, isn't there, where he was proud of being the hardest man in football, wasn't
he? He was absolutely nails with Mick Kennedy.
So he just left before the promotion season. Was that right? Yeah. Because he played at Bradford as well. They put a tweet out, and that's why they held him in high regards.
I think he left us to go to Portsmouth, if I remember. Can't remember exact route. I'm sure he went to Portsmouth. Then he left Portsmouth to go to Bradford. And they spent about $250,000 on him then, which was a lot of money. But
it's interesting the description you gave. I mean, you could feel the love out of both because it's all the 3 tweets of Bradford, Portsmouth, and Alton. So to me, I can't remember much of him, to be honest with you. He must have been a guy who gave every single ounce for his club, and supporters just loved that.
And the rest. He was just one of them. And all out, if you were going to have a bad game, he was still going to give you everything he possibly had.
So Mickey Kennedy signed for Huddersfield in 1980, and 82 left for Middlesbrough. Was where he played 68 times for Middlesbrough, scored 5 before moving on to Portsmouth, where he spent most of his career. So sad week indeed for both Mickey Kennedy's and Ian Ross's family, and we wish them all the best at the podcast. Moving on to updates as well, Neil. You've still been involved with the Huddersfield Street Kitchen.
Yeah,
everything going great there.
Another great day on Sunday. Fed over 100 people on Sunday, which is a phenomenal number. Had good response from the fans who listen to this, town fans listen to this, with various offers of food and clothing. Actually went and met one of them, Jodie Sykes, picked some stuff off her. Oh, that's all gone. I've had messages from another Vicky and Binny. They're sorting out some stuff for over the next couple of weeks.
Great stuff.
Mate of mine, Faz, is sorting a lot of stuff out. Going to go down next Sunday, so it's flying. To be fair,
yeah, I'll be
and Danny G
week,
give us a massive bag of stuff, and a virtually brand new pair of Adidas trainers in it. They went within seconds. So yeah, really, really good. But actually ran out of food. It was that busy.
So which leads on to another point, Neil. It's FA Cup weekend. Town aren't involved.
Fancy that.
It links nicely to the charity, so I believe they're there on Sunday.
Yeah, 12 till 3 every Sunday outside McDonald's in the town centre.
And like I say, don't feel obligated, but if you've got something spare,
yeah.
Sunday,
or even if you've got a couple of quid spare and you want to just call past and take a couple of quids worth of. We get 4 Mars bars at Asda for £1. If you can go get a couple of packets of them and drop them off, and just every little bit counts, and it's all massively, massively appreciated by Danny and Emma and everybody else who runs it. Fab.
Barnes with the flick, Johnson with the turn, Johnson with the goal, and the game turned on its head.
Fantastic. Moving on, so we've got Newcastle in a week on Saturday. Do you think we'll probably see a bit more tweaking again, Cozzy? Jan's obviously looking at things. We've all been impressed by Tommy Smith. Tommy Smith, for me and Neil, is nailing down that place at right back. But maybe we'll see more of Eric Durham. Maybe Congolo back to centre back again. Chris Lerver was ill, I believe, again, as well as Jonas Losel. Do you expect to see more? Or maybe Billing back in? Do you reckon he'll...
So hard to call. I mean, I used to say David Wagner's teams were hard to kind of get right when you got your message an hour before the kick-off. But I think, as Neil said a few times now, it's mini pre-season has started, and I'm prepared for whatever. To be honest with you, it's all about, as we know, forget August. It's almost like the end of May. He's got to make judgments, kind of who to move on, who to keep, and things. Even players under contract, it's all right saying stay, but like we said, Mooney on the money he's probably on, and does he want to be here, etc. So yeah, it's a hard question to answer. Obviously, Callum Grant, would be nice to see him in there, but Jan's got to build on what we saw on Saturday, which were good.
Yeah, we still want. Well, I want some kind of bounce effect to take into next season. I still think that's very, very important. We can't finish this season on the crest of a slump like most of it has been. But at the same time, that's got to be balanced off with he's going to come in and try and see everybody. And there'll be players who he might have thoughts that don't fit his formation that he might find out otherwise. He might have players who he thinks do fit and he'll find out otherwise.
Do you think Alex Pritchard doesn't fit?
Don't look like it, does it? I wouldn't be surprised to see Pritchard move on. I think he's a very, very good championship footballer, but for this formation...
It's all about dynamism and speed, isn't it, in that front three?
And he's just not quick.
You could maybe say he's not strong enough to be in the middle three, and he's not quick enough to be in the front three.
You couldn't play him in middle three.
For a man who's proven quality, though, Neil, we haven't got many of them players. It's a massive shout to... No. Especially when you...
It's a massive shout, and to be honest, it's one of those at the moment that if you could swap him for Tom Ince for next season, you probably would.
Big call.
I think that in the time of year, I think Tom Ince probably give us more than Pritchard has for the expectation level, to be honest.
Stuck wearing league at 70 somewhere, chopped into bits. But I think I'd just like to get one over our mate Rafa. I mean, I don't know if you boys look at the table. I kind of braved it the other day, but it's Fulham are gone, I think, with obviously us. But then after that, it's an absolutely unbelievable battle between probably...
Burnley have really got out there, haven't they, recently?
Yeah, 13th, Crystal Palace, Southampton, in the last spot, and there's only 3 points. Obviously, they got a decent little point last night, even though I didn't know much about it, but where I was, they had it on silent. I just saw Rafa kicking off. Obviously, it must be agreed with something else and what have you, but I think I'd just like to put a spanner in the works there. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? I suppose it's a no-pressure game for us, a bit like Saturday, and we can go there and have a bit of fun, but as regarding, kind of who we want in and what...
I just want to see us turn up to games like that and have a go. Because
Rafa,
if we're being brutally honest, that's one of the few that actually thinks winnable. Can I say that?
What's one of those? Shall I just Google?
They're down
say it's
there.
more winnable than Chelsea.
They're down there. They're scrapping. There's bugger all pressure on town. It's it's just a game to go and get some ideas over and try things and try players, and they can go out there without any fear whatsoever. Because let's be honest, if we go up there on a week of Saturday and get beat, does it really matter? Not really, no. But for Newcastle, it matters.
The next two
It'd be nice to go and shake them up with an early goal and get them panicking a bit, wouldn't it?
The next two are Huddersfield and Burnley, so they're kind of pressure games really for them. But it's it'd be interesting. But obviously a good away day for many. Who'll probably stop over, have a good Friday, Saturday night on the two. So let's hope the lads deliver. I remember last year, obviously it was kind of March time, gut wrenching. Obviously the Kennedy tackle on Kachunga and we got beat. It hurt that, but this is like no pressure, no problems.
I hate the way Newcastle play. I genuinely do. I think it's the most soul-destroying, negative style of football in the entire league. But because they're a big club and because it's Rafa Benitez, they seem to get away with it unscathed. And against Wolves, they played against Wolves the other day, and Newcastle just slow down and kill games and then pinch something.
I didn't pinch stuff them, didn't they?
I'll just throw it out there, lads.
What did you?
Chelsea 5, Huddersfield 0. We know we're not good, and we know they're Manchester City 6, Chelsea. What did you make of that?
It's just mental. Somebody tweeted, that Chelsea's they didn't include the Man City game, and Chelsea's last 4 or 5 results for that were a 2-0 defeat, a 3-0 win, a 4-0 defeat, a 5-0 win, and then he said surely not, and lo and behold,
6-0.
Yeah.
So alternate results. I mean, that's crazy.
It depends what side they get out of bed. Some of them lads, doesn't it? At Chelsea.
Yeah, and thankfully, we aren't on the end of the biggest hammering at the Etihad this season.
Which is bonkers, isn't it?
No.
We're not even in top 3.
No.
They've had a 9, a 7, and a 6-0. Which
imagine the Chelsea podcast this week. Wow,
not bad, are they?
Expectations.
Not bad,
no.
The Chelsea podcast this week. I think I saw someone tweeted the Chelsea fan TV kind of video, and again, just incredible. But yeah, obviously that's their problem. Won't mind some of their problems. Would you? 1 point off.
When you hear these top 6 sides crying about stuff and moaning about, so you just think they really do not live in the real world, do they?
I'll tell you what's got you just mentioned about the food kitchen. I know football's not reality, but Aaron Ramsey, it's not his fault. He's run his contract down. He's in a good way. He's in a good position. But come on, I mean the game. But we said for 3 or 4 years it's going to blow. It's going to, blow up the this bubble.
I didn't realise there was so much money in Italian football.
Incredible.
Thing is, there's no fee involved, have there? Yeah. So he's getting a wedge, isn't it?
$400,000 a week, is it?
Yeah.
How do people know this though? It's just they're just like a camera.
Imagine if you're the agent, you'd be bragging about brokering that, wouldn't you?
But yeah, £400,000 a week for any. I mean, let's be honest. He's not even in top 20 in world, is he? Top 30, top 40,
it's like top 11 50. Arsenal players at the minute.
It's to get that kind of money as a footballer. Wow. The world has gone mad, hasn't it?
Yeah, look, fair play, Aaron, but yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, to be honest, I don't knock the player getting it. It's the teams are prepared to pay it.
It's the demand, isn't it? It's the demand for players.
I think the problem is it drops all the way down.
The biggest problem is where it's us that fund it.
Yeah.
And it's obviously we've got Sky TV on behind us here. That funds it. It's.
No. But the biggest problem for me is all the other fees are just going to be absolutely ridiculous, and it's going to no sound different.
Exactly. Someone's going to say, "Well, Aaron Ramsey gets $400,000. I want $400,000," and then
then
Huddersfield go after the reserve, and then they want.
Will Griggs in the 3rd division paying $4 million for the man. I can't believe it.
For me, what you got to look at that's really got to be classed as negligence is Arsenal letting a contract run so low that a player who they could have probably sold for
20 mil, wouldn't you?
Probably double that. Modern football, isn't it? If we're thinking we want 20 for Aaron Moy, Aaron Ramsey scored a couple of cup final winners, good career with Wales, etc.
He's had 10 years though. Then
he has.
Maybe he's thought I'm going to wind it down.
And good luck to him. But it's negligence from Arsenal for me.
They almost did the same with Ozil, and then they panicked and then overpaid Ozil, haven't they?
And now they don't play him. So
it may work out next year. He's rubbish at Juventus, and they'll be all laughing that he's on 400 grand. You never know which way it's going to go, do you? And
then somebody will pay 30 million to bring him back to the Premier League.
But speaking of money can't buy a voice like our man Richard Kosmala. So with nothing else left to say,
I've not even thought of a song this week.
We've only got something to sing.
Oh God. Money, money, money must be funny in this rich man's world. Or is it? It's a rich man's world. But then on our TV now we've got Lolly, Lolly, Lolly playing for Forest. It's a strange old world. The end.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the flame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears.
Pate's got a chance. Pate scores. Jack Pate scores.
Heffer's in there.
Smith scores for Huddersfield Town. 3-2 Town. Forrest Jerry, Danny Ward saves! Danny Ward saves! De Quattro's in, round De Gea! 2-0 Huddersfield Town!
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!